What has been your worst experience in Germany or wherever you're living abroad? Who were the people that came to your help the most? Were the people back home? There's a great chance no. The people that help you the most abroad are most likely not those people back home. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the reality. If you lose your job, if you're evicted from your home, if you get sick, or you are going crazy about your residence status, who are the people that come to your help? Chances are the people where you are. And you don't have that luxury of families and friends and good people around you. Even if you have them, they're not actually, in most cases, there to really support you. What this translates to is you need to help yourself first. Hey guys, welcome back, and today I hope I can give you something very valuable. Today I want to tell you, or at least to reaffirm the need for you to help yourself first and foremost. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with putting yourself first. You know why? Because you need to be alive, you need to be healthy, you need to be strong, you need to earn well before you can help other people. When we move abroad, we come with a lot of baggages, a lot of burdens and stuff. And yeah, I get it. Everyone understands it. You have families and friends and relatives to help. It's okay. But think about it. Are you the first person who moved abroad from your family? Chances are no. You've had uncles, friends, and other relatives who moved abroad, and then probably they helped you move abroad. How has that changed the financial situation of your family back home? Some people good, others probably not. Chances are that it's been the same cycle over and over again. The family struggles somehow to push someone abroad, and the person goes and then it's helping other family members. The person who is abroad is doing okay, not so great, and then you who is back. The people back home, they are doing okay, but not so great. You know, it's a cycle. It keeps going on and on and on and on, never stops. And then what is even sad is that you who's living abroad, you are living most likely from paycheck to paycheck. It has serious implication. I don't know if you've thought about it. You're living abroad 5 years, 10 years, but you've been living from paycheck to paycheck. And it's out of that paycheck that you're helping the people back home, your friends and families, and anyone who texts you, slides into your DM. I need you to think about the concept this way. Imagine yourself being inside a hole or a well, really deep. You have the chance or the means to come out. So the path for you to come out is very clear. But then way beneath you, there are other people clinging onto you. They want you to help them to come out. Now, the instruction is that there is a maximum number of weights that you can carry at each point in order for you to come out of that well. The logical thing would be that if possible, you just try to come out as fast as possible, because when you come out, you can then hand in a rope to the other people, and then it's a lot easier to bring them out. But what a lot of us are doing, I did it too, is we are in that hole, we're struggling to come out, and then we are carrying all the baggages, all the weight. It's difficult for you to come out, if at all you can make it. What happens is you never get to the top to send in the rope, which is going to easily bring other people outside. I need us to change our mindset and begin to think about things a bit differently. There is nothing wrong with helping people back home. I think we all get it. We understand the situation back home before we left, how the family was, how the friends were, and so on and so forth. So we need to help them. But think about ways that are more sustainable. You are living abroad from paycheck to paycheck. You cannot even survive. How can you help the other people long term? The problem is, if something happens to that job of yours, if you get sick, you have an accident, something happens, God forbid, everyone is doomed. You can't help yourself and you cannot help them. I don't think that's a wise decision. And that's why I want you this year rethink about how you're helping people back home. You need to help them in a way that can truly help them. I'm going to recap that. Help the people in your life here or back home in a way that you can truly help them. If someone comes and asks you for a fish today, you give them a fish. Tomorrow they come back again, you give them a fish. At some point, I genuinely believe it's going to get boring for you and probably not sustainable, because sometimes you don't have fish. Sometimes you don't feel like having a fish. Sometimes you have a shark. Sometimes you have, something. But the point is this: teach them how to fish. And at the end of the day, they're going to hopefully appreciate it. But what's even more interesting is those same people that you help, regardless of how you do it, how much you do it, how often that you do it, it's not all of them that stay grateful. And we are human beings. You give someone something, then there's that expectation that you will always get it. And then to a great extent, a lot of people get entitled. And that just really, really drives me crazy. And it drives a lot of people crazy as well. You're getting entitled for something which someone is just giving to you out of generosity or whatever it is. Of course, in certain cases, like our parents, we to some extent responsible to take care of them. There's no doubt about it. But again, coming back to the main point, you have to be intentional and strategic about this, thinking long term. Again, imagine the analogy of you being in a well and having the means to come out, and there are also other people asking to come out as well. So you need to find the fastest way for you to come out of that well, hand them a rope, and then bring them out. How about you begin to think about things a bit differently? Say every month you have your fixed cost of things. You have to pay your rent, your health insurance, and other insurances which you have. If you have a car, the bills for the car, and whatever it is that you have to pay. You need to plan it. Yeah, say, okay, hey, this is how much I have. This is my fixed cost. And now these are miscellaneous expenses. And now, okay, I have this, buffer money that I can play around with. But you have to do this. A lot of people do not do this. Someone asks them, they give this, they give that, they give that, they give that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being generous, but there's everything wrong with you not planning. Again, you don't have access to an unlimited resources. So if you're giving things without planning, how sustainable could that be? Now, this is what I do recommend you to do. Now, who are those people in your life that you need to help? Now, list them out. There's some people that you're genuinely responsible for. Have a plan for them. There are other people that you don't have to. Well, if you have some extra, it's okay. But if you don't have, it's 100% okay also not to give anything. You don't have to feel that pressure. It's really sad that you live here, you don't get all the help that you need. No, for many things, you have to do them yourself. And it's not like other people don't care, but it's just how the system is. Everyone is just working, hustling, trying to make ends meet. And then at the end of the day, you sit back, you have nothing. You've lived 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You have nothing to show here, and you also have nothing to show back home. Even those same people that you helped, they will also tell you that, hey, you've lived abroad for so long, what do you have to show for it? And then you'll be surprised, hey, have I not been helping you? But that's how the world is. And that's why you need to help yourself first. Now, how can you be more sustainable in this? I'm not sure what age your parents might be, but maybe they are truly dependent on you. So these ones for sure, you need to take care of them, as much as you can. But again, remember, you're coming out of that well. You need to get out first so you can hand the rope, pull them out. Now you have your younger ones. How old are they? Older than you, younger than you. Now you need to think about ways to help them. I genuinely recommend, do not continue to hand fish to them. Let them become fishermen. How did you move abroad? If it's applicable in your case, help them move abroad. Are they studying? Can they work? What can they do? Think about the way for them to move abroad. But don't forget, that's why we are also here. So feel free to ask us. Feel free to ask me by any means. I think if you show them the way to also move abroad, they can also move and begin to earn like you and support the family. So you have more hands that can support. It's a more sustainable approach. So think about it as your investment, your project to bring someone out. And then when you bring that person out, then they are also in a position to help other people. Maybe that's a better way, but it does not always work. It's not guaranteed. You bring someone out and then whatever happens, there are a lot of families that come over to Europe, Germany, and they're never talking to each other. Long story, family matter, family drama, not to be discussed here. But my point is, instead of always sending money back home, how about you find a way to get the person here and then you make that one-time investment. However, the person also needs to cooperate before you can actually help them. Now, this also brings me to a point which I mentioned in my previous video where I talked about you starting a business. It's quite easy to start a business in Germany, no doubt, but not so easy to scale, recall. If you haven't watched that video, I do recommend that you watch it so that you get, where the whole gist is coming from. Now, if you have that extra cash, why not start a business here? It makes more sense because then you're not living just from paycheck to paycheck. So you have another source of income. And this is one thing a lot of foreigners are missing. They rely just on one source of income. Do not do that to yourself. Do not do that to yourself. Try to get multiple streams of income. That would help you. Now, if you manage to start a business here, one would think it's easier to start a business back home than starting here. Okay, how many of you have tried it and you succeeded? For sure, some people, but majority of the experience is you send money back home through a friend, through a brother, through your parents or whoever, and it's gone. No traces, nothing. You plan to do something else came up, and then they decided to do with the money whatever they pleased. I have had that experience personally, and many people too, I'm sure of that. So I think if you can start a business in your location that you are in control of, that you can take charge of, I do believe it makes more sense so that whatever you gain from there, you can put it elsewhere. Then you have the leverage, to take that risk. Now, if you want to do business away for whatever reason, then I do encourage you to do something that can give you some level of control. Take, for instance, start an online business, something which is online that you can operate from any location. I do believe you can still start up something in your target location, so your home country, for example, and you still be in charge of it from your current location. That, in my opinion, it's less risky. Now, for physical business that has to do with people who are located there, that's something you really need to think about and be sure that you have someone who is trustworthy before you can invest in such a business, so that you're not investing in the business that you cannot sleep at night. I think that's not good. So I genuinely recommend the first step, start a business in your location where you are if it's possible. Not always easy, but again, that's why we are coming together on this platform, so that we can connect with like-minded people and do something together. Because if you find a reasonable business partner, it becomes easy to start something. And then if you are in a location where that person is, then you can always chat and start up something. So if you're interested in starting a business, by all means, get in touch with us. We are happy to learn about your business. We are happy to connect you with other people within the ecosystem to see how you can grow. Coming back to something which is even very important. For those of us who are living in Germany now, other parts of Europe, I think we are in a very interesting time. Very interesting period. The way I see it, living in Germany today, and also the way more and more foreigners are coming to Germany, more Africans are coming to Germany, more skilled workers are coming to Germany. Germany is opening their borders. They're making legal migration policy a lot easier. You know the reason. They need the skilled workers to come from abroad to have their economy to stabilize. And that puts you, in my opinion, very good position. Why? Because you are playing a vital role in the economy of the country. I'm going to have a separate conversation where I go into all those details, especially for skilled workers. But for today, the point I want to make is this. Where we are today, where Germany is today, is like, where the US was some 60, 100 years ago, or the UK some 60 or more years ago. So opening the borders to more foreigners coming in, Africans, Asians, and all. Now, in those locations, they now have, generation after generations of foreigners in that location. And they've also established themselves to a good extent. The same is to some extent happening in Germany, but you can count the number of people. I personally have not. I've seen maybe one or two families that maybe second generation here, but not more. I know they exist. I don't know all of them. But if you don't see them so often, then that tells you something. There are not that many. Now, what this translates to is this. We have that opportunity today, like many other families had several decades ago when they were moving to the UK and to the US. And now the migration policies, to some extent, are becoming fairer and fairer to foreigners. Let's be honest. Things are a lot easier in Germany today for foreigners than they used to be some 20, 30 years ago. I've seen people who studied here many years ago. As soon as they studied, it was clear to them that there's nothing for you in Germany after your studies. Here, Germany would offer you free education and stuff, but there was nothing for you to do. Even in the system, I've spoken with people. But today is different. Before you finish your studies, there are 1,001 options for you to stay back if you understand the law. You have to check and see these things. But we can all agree that the system has become fairer than it used to be, no doubt. And what this translates to is this. For those of us who are living here today, now we have a chance to build generational wealth. And this is what most foreigners are not thinking about. And then you keep staying in the same cycle of struggle, living from paycheck to paycheck. In my opinion, it makes no sense. It does not have to be that way. How about you start thinking, more sustainable approaches? How about you start thinking, okay, how can you have multiple streams of income that you don't have to just, focus only on that paycheck to paycheck? How about you start focusing on how you can get a better residence, get your permanent residence, get your citizenship if it allows you? And then how about venturing into some things that you're genuinely passionate about? How about looking around within you and to see, okay, hey, what problem can you actually solve? We have this unique advantage right now because the country is not yet saturated with a lot of foreigners. So those of us who are here right now, we have the chance to build something not just for ourselves, but for our generation to come. Most of us living here, we already begin to, get married. We are having babies. You need to think about their future. To some extent, we can think, okay, hey, they're going to have a much brighter future compared to back home. But then it does not have to start and end here. The point of the whole thing at the end of the day is that you were able to improve where you came from. So again, think about yourself as a pace setter. You are setting the pace for something very unique. Do not think just today. Do not think living from paycheck to paycheck. You have A, you have B, you have C, and then there's nothing left for you. It's not sustainable. You know why? Because if you get sick, if you pass away, that's the end of everything. So guys, to wrap it up, today, this year, I need you to start by helping yourself. Think more about sustainable approaches. Think more about sustainable ways that you can live here. Think about building generational assets for yourself, for your family, for your unborn generation. We are in a very unique period in Germany. We are in a very unique period in Europe. And if you can tap into the opportunities around you, I do believe you're going to make a difference in not just your life, but the life of your generations to come. And it all boils down to planning. A lot of us, we live abroad without any concrete plan. I mean, you can survive in a location that thrives on spontaneity. So people just wake up and do things spontaneously. A friend doesn't tell you they're coming over, boom, they're in your place, you have to attend to them. Somehow it works. But if you are in a system that is structured, there are rules, there are regulations, there are principles on how to do things, then for me, what it translates to is if I plan myself accordingly, then I can leverage on the opportunities that I see around me. Why? Because to some extent, there's a structure, to some extent, there's a system that works. So why not see how you can structure yourself, align yourself with the system, and then take what you can get from it and give back at the same time as well. So guys, in conclusion, put yourself first. You're not being selfish by doing that. No, by putting yourself first, you're putting yourself in the position that you can provide sustainable assistance, that you can help people for a longer term. You want to come out of that well first so you can hand in the rope and bring other people out. I hope this makes some senses to you. I hope you could learn one or two things. I do encourage you. Do not just listen or watch this and do nothing. No, take actions. Enough sleeping. Wake up. The time is going. Tick tock, tick tock. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 fucking years, 20 years. It's no joke.